What's up, YouTube? Chicken Master, of course. I'm going to be restringing one of my recoveries. Just got a little too worn out. A lot of the strings were just coming apart because that's what happens as a face-off guy. I figured this was a good time as any, as good of a time as any, to kind of show you kind of what I do to create my pocket. I very much go for more of a player's pocket. I like to play after the face-off. So I go very much more traditional. But you'll kind of see why some of the things I pick and how it reflects as both a face-off and as a player. Let's get into it. As most of you know, big ECD guy. I really like their 4.0 right now. It's phenomenal. I did try their face-off mesh. Was not a big fan. And I feel very similarly about String King's mesh. Again, personal preference. You can string with whatever. But this is my personal preference. So today we'll be doing the black with white striker, and then we're going to do all red strings, kind of going for an Eagle Crest theme since season's right around the corner here. Yeah, let's get going. As with stringing anything, got to locate which side of the mesh you're using. And then, of course, you got to get your little double knot going to kind of create the end point on the outside. I like to do a traditional 9 diamond, and I start on the second sidewall hole here. This one right here. I'm gonna speed through all this because I'm not gonna sit here and show you how to do a 9 diamond. I would rather, right, that's something you should learn from someone else. There's plenty of tutorials out there. ECD, of course, String King, all of them have it just because, right, that's a basic skill. I'm not gonna teach it here. But that's what I use. So let's string away. All right. Top string's done. I like to do a double, but since the holes are nice and big, I like to do a double to really make sure it's in there. It's on both sides. And then, yeah, just a traditional 9 diamond across. Nothing too fancy. So then we need our sidewalls. And I like to do them both at the same time. And the reason for that is it helps me visually see and make sure that every little detail, whatnot, is happening the way it should. So that's all that is. I'm going to start, and it should be pointed out, I don't know the official terms for a lot of these kinds of knots and stuff. So I'll kind of explain the first ones as I go down a little bit, and then I'll do it. So I actually have my other one right here because I still have to remember how to do it sometimes. I've been doing the same pattern basically for all the burn heads for years. But you know, you always gotta think. So I start the hole right below the hole that I finished. So this is the third sidewall hole. To make sure my knot is good. Gotta make sure that little knot is good. So same thing. I come back and I go through twice again. Again, just really locking it down, especially on the bottom sidewall. You really need that sense of security. It does get a little challenging though. I'm trying to work it all in there. Really locks it in there. It's not going anywhere. After that, come back up. I want to make a channel. So I'm going to skip, right? Yeah, I skipped that hole. I'm down to the next one. In from the outside, I come up through the next diamond. And then from the outside in the knot. There's a fucking term for it. I don't know it, but basically I pull out the slack, and then you saw I pull up, pull down, make sure I'm really tightening that down. We want this to be secure. Again, especially bottom, but just in general, you want this to be secure. So we're going to do that a second time, at least. Again, we're going to skip a hole. We're going to come to the hole right at the top of this strut here. I'm going to come to that hole. From the inside out, up through the bottom side, diamond, whatever, inside, outside, kind of pull it down, really start pulling slack, pinch it. Oh, it doesn't look like, sit there. So there, already got started going down. And we're gonna do one more of these. And there's no hole to skip, but we're gonna pretend that's a hole. And we're gonna go past it. It's basically the next sidewall hole, but there's technically a gap there, so I would consider it skipping. Same process. And all this is doing is tightening down what will become our channel. This helps flatten this part out here. And then I'm going to do it again on the other side. And then we'll go to the pocket part of the pocket. So Cool. So finish that. You can kind of see how it's bringing this all down. It's really tightening everything up. From here, we're going to go into the actual pocket itself. And we start off, we're going to hold the thing up. That next diamond hole, we're actually going to go straight through. And then we're going to pick it up, kind of let it kind of sit like that, right? We're going from... Yep. And yeah, I skip one hole. Yeah, I do. And then it's that same kind of loop knot that I do. Again, I'm not a professional, but this is something I picked up as a beginner to really help. So we'll kind of do that same loop, and look, it has this part trapped. What it's going to do is it's going to start to bag right in that area. This is the start of the actual pocket itself. So next, we're going to do another one where we go through one diamond. But this time, we are not going to skip a hole. We are going to knot it right at the next hole. So this really bags the pocket out more, because now, right, because when you skip, you're leaving space for something to kind of exist. Here, it's really starting to push. Now we're going to do a 2, where we go through 2 diamonds, and we're going to skip 1 hole. So go through our first. I like to pull it, bring this back, go back into the front, bunch them together, skip that hole, come from around, go through the front of our little loop. And then I make sure I hold this as I'm tightening and pulling out the slack, because I want it to be down. So that's a lot of what I'm looking for. I could even go tighter. So I'm going to actually go back through here and really make sure I have it. And that's totally okay. And again, too, it's okay to go through it, do a knot, and then go, wow, that's not tight enough, and go back and redo it. You want these things tight. If you can get a hand-on set of pliers, that honestly can really help. I've done it before. It's just not something I enjoy, but I like going back through it, making sure I did it right. So, but anyway, did our 2. From there, we have one more one where we skip. So now we're at the last 4 holes. We're at the 3rd from the bottom. So one more one, bag out, through that hole, back through our little loop, pull out slack, and then tighten the knot. And there we go. That's most of the pocket now. To do the last, I almost do it as if I'm doing a 1. Actually, we're gonna, yeah. And I go through the front of a diamond as if I'm doing the front, doing a loop. But instead, I go through the back side. Like that. On that very last hole, I'm skipping one, and I'm just pulling, and that's where I tie off my knot. I'm going to leave it loose because I'm going to do the other one. This will let me to go back through. I get this side done, make sure everything's tightened evenly, and then we'll kind of go from there. So there we go. Knots are tied. Basically, from the inside, it just looks like it just kind of comes in through. So now we have open bottom, and we're gonna do shooters. So we're gonna deal with the bottom first. I prefer one of the shooter strings in the string kit to do this. That's just what I've been doing forever. So trying to think of the best way to explain this. Basically, I go through the farthest outside hole, right? Just push on through, pull it through. Now, the holes that I go through, the diamonds that I go through, I come out underneath, not the like next side diamond, but the diamond in between the last diamond that I used. And then I go across, how many? 3. So 1. So there's going to be one hole in the middle that does not have. And then I'm going to go straight down the second hole. Right? Now we're basically doing the same thing. We're going to go up that third hole, right? We're going to skip that hole in the middle and go up that next hole, or diamond, if you will, and go right to that matching diamond across. And then come right out that fourth one there. So it's basically all the same on the inside, right? Evenly balanced. And then I just use a knot. So I like the bag on this. So the big thing about this pocket and what it aims to do, the reason I have kind of pulls down and then all this, from here down, it's very shifty. What that means is I can cradle down low, I can up high for ground balls, and it sits right nice in the middle where it can kind of move around. So that's kind of why it seems very loose and baggy. As a face-off, that's just how I want it. But as well as a player, I feel like I can be versatile. So that's that. Now for shooters. Shooters for me, I like a simple across with a shooter and a nylon. The shooter starts in the hole, like 1, 2, 3, in the 6th sidewall hole from the top, and the nylon is the 3rd or the 4th from the top. So basically, there's a row of diamonds in between them. That's my preference. Usually, the shooter string itself is very loose, not like so loose, but it's loose. And then the nylon gets a little bit stiffer. It's a gradual release, but it's also not too much. So shooter string, very simple. Just kind of run it through. Keep it a little soft, right? It shouldn't be too tight. From there, we'll run the nylon through. And the nylon is super easy because it literally just alternates. Like you're just one down as you come up one of the holes, you're going down the other. Just very easy. This is very simple, but it helps make it tight when you need it. Because like you don't want it too tight. Too tight becomes an issue. Too tight, you might get a little too much, and I don't like feeling it that much. I don't want to feel and hear the ball leave. I've had sticks like that in the past, and a long time ago when I was just a midi, I didn't mind that as much. But now that I'm a face-off guy and I have new preferences, it's a preference, right? It's just something that I have changed in. So if you like that, absolutely, you're welcome to it, like 100%. So that's that there. That's really it. After this, what you'll want to do, bag out your pocket a little bit with a ball, your hand, kind of make sure it's forming that shape that you want. And then after that, trim and singe your ends to make them all nice and short. My lighter doesn't work right now, so I have to go find one. I literally went to go light a candle earlier and it just didn't work. So that's that. That's how I string my burn formulas. If you have questions, I'll try to answer my best. Again, some of the terminology, the types of knots, I don't know. A lot of what I've learned how to string is just watching someone else string, like use a certain style of knot and just repeating it over and over and trying it out. And I don't really remember what they're called. So I'm not a professional. This is more of a guy that's taught himself how to string. So this is how I string it. It's not going to work for everybody, but it might work for you. If you're a offensive face-off guy, you face off and then you stay on, run the offense. You might play a little, you play a little defense. You're going to be carrying the ball, going to be shooting, going to be passing, catching. This is what I would do. So yeah, that's that. And I will see you all in the next video. Take care.